Olá, 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 olá. Bom dia, todo mundo. Today I say good morning to you in Portuguese. It's Monday, so I sincerely hope everyone's doing good today and looking forward to the week ahead. I want to welcome you to another episode 34 of our podcast, your podcast, everyone's podcast called My Unify Podcast. The quick agenda for those who don't know is about things in life you go through, experiences, and a journey that might be coming your way. The aim is to give you a positive mindset to overcome anything that comes your way. If you do end up liking the podcast, this episode, or you're an advocate for positivity, make sure you follow, subscribe, hit the bell, and most importantly, share this with someone you think needs to hear this. The previous episode was about being thankful and saying thank you daily for everything, no matter what. Make sure you check the episode out. It's full of grace and thank yous. So, the random thought that popped into my mind that you might be tested on one day is your emotional maturity. This is a crucial topic because you will never know when you are being tested or when the right moment is to display your emotional maturity. Today, let's look into what emotional maturity is, the signs you should look out for, why it's crucial to be emotionally mature, and tips on what to do when the time comes to show you are emotionally mature. So, the Collins Dictionary has broken the definition into two separate topics. So, one being emotional and one being maturity. It says that emotional means concerned with emotions and feelings, and maturity is the state of being fully developed or adult. So, when we look at both of them and combine them, emotional maturity is being concerned with emotions and feelings while being in a state of being fully developed or adult. Now, that works for me, but I don't necessarily feel or believe that you need to be an adult to be mature, let alone be emotionally mature. When you are emotionally mature, you're able to control how you feel, react to a certain situation. Something someone has said or done, or something sensitive that might hinder you. The thing is, growing up, I knew a lot of people that were already mature enough for their age. And by that I mean, they would hardly get upset when being teased. They knew how to plan things ahead when things weren't going according to plan. Now, I remember one time being told by one of my school friends he was meant to go back home from school on this day, and his father called the headmaster's office and informed him he wasn't able to come and pick him up because he was tied in at work and all the roads were closed, meaning he would only arrive really, really late, as they lived very far and the father's workplace was also very far. This guy was only 14, but instead of stressing, crying, panicking, or start losing control of himself, he went back to the headmaster's office, who, by the way, was so strict. But the guy was brave enough to ask if he was able to stay back in one of the school classrooms with the lights on and everything, while his father made his way later evening to pick him up. Now, some will say that's the most obvious thing to do anyway. But do you know how hard it is at that age to go to your headmaster, who was the strictest, not nicest person in the world, to explain the situation and stay back by yourself in a classroom while it's late at night and wait for your father to pick you up? And remember, back then, smartphones, cell phones, and all the tech luxury we had was limited and hardly existed. He sat there and looked at the walls while occasionally reading his book and waiting for his dad to show up. And luckily, the principal was kind enough to say, you know what? I'll stay here in the office and wait for your father to show up. And in case he needs to call the school office, I'll be here. His dad turned up at 7 p.m. instead of 3:30 p.m. Now you see, that is a major case of emotional maturity because the no fear, being in control, showing no weakness at such a sad and stressful and tricky situation showed that at just age 14, he was or became emotionally mature. There's some of the signs you should look out for, okay? These are some of the signs. Sometimes life will present you with tricky, unpleasant, or pleasant situations that needs your emotional maturity. Let's say you were playing any sport. Call it football. Some call it soccer. And let's say you were about to strike the ball and someone unintentionally slide tackled you so hard that they ended up twisting your ankle and knee. Instantly, emotionally, you'd of course be upset. But do you react aggressively or do you react but try to give them the benefit of the doubt? Now, some will say, well, if it was intentional, I will strike back. And some will say there is no excuse for slide tackling at a fun activity sports level. But the emotionally mature ones will firstly start off by assessing the situation, giving them the benefit of the doubt first. Firstly, did they intentionally slide or did they slip? Did they slide, tackle me properly? Okay, fine. And as a result, ended up twisting my knee due to a follow through. Can this person I was playing with be trusted, or are they a serial hard tackler known for wanting to hurt people? You see, your mind has to go through a lot of layers and thoughts and questions before you react. Never strike back. Understand and assess the situation first, and then see how they can help fix what they did and how you can overcome the situation you're in. See, being emotionally mature can be the difference between excelling or failing in life. You see, it doesn't take much to become a failure, and it's harder to excel and be successful. Remember, it doesn't take much to become a failure, and it's harder to excel and be or become successful. I made that up. So now that you know, be careful and think. If someone accused you of doing something, let's say your manager accused you of taking money that belonged to them because they feel they dropped it in that same room, you were both in with them, and you decided to use the F word and cuss and say bad things in response, do you really think they will want to work with you anymore moving forward? Or will they trust you for any other opportunities in future? Yes, of course, I get it. They accused you of something they shouldn't have, but remember, people make mistakes. And because he or she was being emotionally immature by accusing you of something you didn't do right away, always be the bigger person and state your case, defend yourself in a calm manner, and walk away. How about if your school teacher was looking for the new class leader, say school council, okay, or a class representative, and they purposely threw a tricky situation at you just to test you to see if you are resilient enough to not overreact, to test your emotional maturity? Let's say they said tomorrow the whole class, apart from you and two other people who they're considering to be the school councils, you will stay behind while the others have a longer break time and a longer lunch. You three will stay inside and do some extra work. How would you feel? Would you react in a negative way or a positive way? Of course, it's an easy answer. Just be positive. Okay? Be positive and say that's fine, no worries. I understand that to become a school council takes more than just playing all the time. And we need to work a bit harder than everyone else. And I'm sure our turn will come to play more and also have a longer break and lunch in future. Okay? That will take you places. And of course, there are many more examples of emotional maturity. But with that being said, let's look at a couple of tips for you to take away on this start of the week. Number one, assess any situation you find yourself in before you react irrationally. Two, know that where one door closes, another opportunity will present itself. Like the case of my friend who was brave enough to ask if he could stay back in the school, knowing it's not allowed, still trying his chances. Three, think of the consequences you might have to face or find yourselves in if you become emotionally immature. What could happen to my future if I did certain things without thinking? Four, last but not least, because you know it doesn't take much to become a failure and it's harder to excel and be successful, do not be emotionally immature because it will destroy all the previous hard work and good image you presented yourself with and you've shown other people because it's easy to delete that image. Remember, it takes a couple of seconds to destroy anything you've ever done and worked for. On that note, thanks for listening to today's episode called Emotional Maturity. As usual, before you start your Monday, start off with some pure positivity. However hard it is, the most successful people you aspire to in life have been through hard times, have managed to keep a positive mind and health check. You can do it too. So keep listening to My Unify Podcast because we believe in positivity and a brighter and greater future for all. If you like, feel free to drop us a message, share your comments, thoughts, and feelings anywhere. If you could like, subscribe, or follow, that'd be great. Or at least share this with someone before it's too late. Someone who needs to hear this more than you to date. And put a smile on their face and please don't wait. Peace out.